All right, we're going to show you how to do a simple track diagram in the Central Station 3. The first thing we need to do is get rid of an old track diagram that you may have. And for that you have to go to the Edit mode and Edit Trackboard page. And you essentially have to delete all the items on the trackboard. So I can move this little window down, this little menu, get rid of that. We are in the edit mode and I'm dragging down the trackboard with my screen. You can see W1 and W2 are used, and that is indicated by the gray bar underneath the icon. We are in the edit mode, and now I'll click on W1 and then simply delete it. Confirm that I want to delete it. Do the same for W2, click on it and then click on delete. That gets rid of that one. And these are little placeholder track pieces, so I have to delete those as well. And here's the last one, and go ahead and delete it. And you could see that the routes between those items automatically delete when you delete the items. Now I just have the 3 turnouts listed above, and the track diagram itself is now empty. When I resize the track diagram, because it is empty, you see the trash can in the middle, and I can delete the whole track diagram. So let's go ahead and do that. And now there's no track diagram left in my central station. I can get out of the edit mode. If I want to get rid of the turnouts as well, I click back on edit and then I edit my article list. Click on it, and now it's a simple matter of just Xing out the turnouts. And delete all 3 articles, and now my article list, my solenoid article list, is empty. So now we have nothing, no track diagram and no items. We're going to do a simple double loop layout with a total of 7 turnouts. So I can click on edit again and say I want to edit my article list, and I'm going to add the turnouts. This is an example that I'm doing for a customer who has a total of 7 turnouts, and we're just going to add these one by one. There's going to be 3 right-hand turnouts. This 4th one needs to be left, so I correct it to left. And then I can simply click a few more times on the plus. That gets me number 5, number 6, and number 7. These are all his turnouts. Because I added these manually, it automatically gives it the Marklin Motorola protocol. We can switch it to DCC if we so desire. And it simply gives them an address. 7, number 6 was going to be number 6, 5 is 5, because the central station has no idea which address you want to give to these turnouts. You can, of course, go into this menu, click on the turnout, and then change the address, like so, 51, or you can do it. I'm using a computer right now, but you can do it up there with the keyboard as well. 51, and hit the check mark. And now the address for turnout number 5 is set to 51. You could click on the triangle on the right bottom, and then you get to see what you would have to set the dip switches on the turnout decoder to get to address 51. So in this case, it would be dip switch number 1 to the on position, 3 and 4 to the on position, and everything else left in off. The 0, the last one, needs to be in off, because otherwise the turnout would use the MFX protocol. So we have our 7 turnouts, so we're happy, so we can click on OK. There are my 7 turnouts. They're all red right now because they're all set to the curved position. Now I go to Trackboard, but there is no Trackboard, so I cannot select that on the top left. I have to go back to Edit, click on it, and then say Edit Trackboard Page. Click on it. And now I get this little helpful window. You can select if you just want to select an area or just a spot selection. We're going to keep using the spot selection. Track diagrams, there are none yet, but track diagram area plus with the plus sign, that's what we need because we're going to add a panel. Click on Add Panel, and now you can give it a name. Because we're going to do the 2 inner loops of a large layout that circles a room, I'm just simply going to refer to this track diagram as inner 2 loops. And you can name it whatever you prefer. Click on OK, and here's our track diagram. It's a little small, so I'm going to drag with the mouse and make the track diagram larger. And you can resize it all you want and as needed. Then I scoot it a little bit better to the middle. There we go. And now I can place my turnouts. So I grab this little window and scoot it out of the way. Resize this so we can still see everything. And now I'm going to place my turnouts. I click on the turnout itself and then try to set it pretty much straight up and down, which would be 360. It doesn't come exactly, you don't have to get exactly to 360 as long as you're close. Grab the second turnout. They're going to go beak to beak, so I set it up like so. And what I'm doing now is first I'm just going to roughly position all the turnouts on the track diagram. So every time it doesn't show, but I'm clicking on the W4 and then hold the mouse button pushed in. If you do it on the mobile station, you simply drag it with your finger to approximately where it needs to go. This may not make much sense now, but will when we finish this diagram. I got to turn this one around so it's beak to beak with turnout W4. There's 2 turnouts left. They go to the bottom of the loop of the large oval. So I place one down here somewhere. And the last one goes beak to beak with that one. This is where you can switch from the inner to the outer loop and back. I set it to approximately 270 degrees. And we got our turnouts all pretty much placed where we need them. Again, we can fine-tune and move them around later. You're always doing a simplified diagram of your layout. The most important thing on that diagram are the actual solenoid articles and signals, etc. And everything else is basically a schematic version of what your real layout looks like. And this way, just at a glance, we're going to add a few items. And there's a helpful thing on this bottom menu. I'm going to scroll over the track route. I see these as tiny little track pieces, straight track pieces that you can place anywhere on your diagram. And it helps you to connect the routes. And you will see that in a minute. So I'm going to place a few of these. Again, they will become perfect placeholders for my route, for my track diagram itself. 360, there you go. And so I'm going to go ahead and place some. And you can add more later or delete them just as you desire. They have no function other than to keep your routes of your track diagram at certain their anchor points. This is where the outer loop is going to go. So I put 2 anchor points there. It will connect to W1 that way. And from W1 we go to W7 on the outer loop. And then I'll place one more track piece here so that it makes a nice big loop. And I'll do the same for the inner loop. And this is my siding track. So I'll put a little placeholder there. And the siding will have a dead end. So I'm placing a track bumper right there. I think that may do it. Move this out of the way. And move this down so we can all see it a little bit better. Don't need that top window for now, and I'll zoom in a little bit. I'm still in the grid mode, grid on off, as you can see on the bottom. And I grab this turnout. You see the 3 handles. I'm going to grab that handle, the little black dot. And then I'm just going to move it out of the way of the other items to the black dot on that little placeholder thing. I'm in the blue circle. You see that turnout blue, and I can let go of the mouse. Thought I could let go. I waited too long, and so it automatically made an extra placeholder piece for me. I can save it by simply moving this around. Get rid of that one. So I'm going to delete that one. And then I'll move the other one that was automatically formed and move it over. And we get the same deal. And then from that one, I'll move all the way across to the other one. And from that one, I grab the little corner piece and place it here and let go of the mouse. I can click on this one and scoot it over a little bit just to make it look nicer. All right. Now I want to go here, so I'm going to click on that item, grab the little handle and move it to the bottom one and let go of the mouse. Do it again, click. Oh, no, that's not the one that I want. Click below it. That did the trick. Grab the black handle with the mouse and let go. And you can see that the track diagram starts to take shape. Click, grab the handle, put it right there, let go of the mouse. When you wait too long, it's going to add a little piece. So I can just undo the step, undo edit track, and I'll try it again. I'll do it a little bit quicker. Up and let go. There. We got our outer oval, our outer loop done. These two need to be connected. I'll zoom in a little bit. And we're still in the grid on mode, so I cannot turn or move this turnout. It'll snap back to the grid. It did connect because we got close enough to the other turnout, so that's nice, but this is really not looking that great. So I turn the grid off, and now I should be able to just move the turnout to a little bit, visually a little bit better position right there. That looks good to me. There, again, exact placement is not crucial as long as it looks good to you and recognizable to you where you are on your layout. Grab this and move it to W3. Grab this and move it across. It's right there. Grab this. Okay, I'm grabbing it's selected the wrong one. Oops, let's see if I can undo this. No, I'm just going to undo it this way. Undo edit track. And the whole reason this is a little more nervous in selecting is because I am out of the grid on-off mode. So it's probably better for me to leave it in the grid on mode, but it's not right now. You see, again, if I click on it, it grabs the wrong one. It's a little finagly. So I'm going to try to cheat and just go the other way. Ah, that did the trick. Sweet. Okay, again, this is a little difficult because they're really close to each other to try to connect them. And sometimes it clicks right and sometimes the computer guesses wrong and it won't snap. But I like that. Now I need to try to, that's not what I wanted to do, but I'll just put it close to here, and then I'll simply create or turn around that little track piece that was just added, and that should do the trick there. And now it's a matter of connecting the last few placeholders to complete this loop. And now the only thing left are to connect the two, or the 4 turnouts, the 2 pairs of turnouts. And let me move this over a little bit. This shows you how you can make that oval look a little bit better by pulling that placeholder, that little track piece over. I'm turning the grid mode back on. That makes it easier to connect these turnouts, get the right blue circle, move it just a little bit towards the other, and it automatically connects. Make sure I get the right handle and move it just a little bit, and there you go. And that concludes building our track diagram. So all that is left now is to get back out of the edit mode. And now we're technically done with our track diagram, and we can start controlling our turnouts. So I'll take it off of stop, and you can set the position of your turnouts by simply clicking on them on the track diagram. You can also look at your article list by pulling down the green tab, and you can also control your turnouts by clicking on that window. You can see they change simultaneously on your screen, on the track diagram and on the article list. Now you can pair up these turnouts, because in this example 3 of them are paired up where you switch from the inner to the outer loop and the other way around. And there's a few ways to do it. One would be to connect the 2 turnout motors to one decoder, or here we're going to do an event. So I go to events, click on plus, and now I can start recording an event. And recording an event, I can give it a name. And I'm doing this with a keyboard right now from a computer. But obviously, when you work on the central station, you use that little keyboard above. And you would type using that keyboard. And I'm calling this sequence or this event 2 inner loops. So it would switch the train from the outer to the inner loop. Let me move this recording window out of the way a little bit so we can see our turnouts. It's the 2 turnouts on the left of my track diagram that I want to switch simultaneously. And that would get a train to go to the inner loop. So I hit the record button, and then I simply click on the turnouts that I want to move or to switch. I made one mistake here with recording because the turnouts are already set in the right position. So let me get out of this real quick and set the turnouts to straight. Because I'm still in the edit mode, that actually recorded the 2 steps. You see the little circle 2. So I have to get rid of these 2 steps. And now the record window says there are 0 steps. And I start recording again. And click that one to curved and that one to curved, W1 and W2. That concludes the recording sequence. So I click on record to stop the recording sequence. And now we have our first event recorded. I'll set the turnouts to straight real quick. Get out of the edit mode. I'll close this window for just a second. And so if I wanted to switch from the outer to the inner loop, let me set all the turnouts to straight. I would go to events here on the top of the screen. And that's my event that I want to play off to set these 2 turnouts to curved. So I click on the play button. And what happens? Both turnouts switch to curved and a train would switch from the outer to the inner loop. You have just created your first recorded event. Real simple. So I could do another event and give it a name. Again, I use a keyboard here. The problem is then it doesn't switch on the keyboard down below, so let me change it on the keyboard down below. That's what you would use when you use your central station. And I'll call this sequence to the outer loop. And that, of course, is the two turnouts that you see on the bottom. I'll hit record. And I want to set this turnout to curved and that turnout to curved. And that's the sequence. So stop recording. And I can close the recording window. I'll get out of the edit mode for the events. First, let me set these all to straight real quick. And I'll get out of the edit window. Click. Close this. And now I have a second event, and it's called to the outer loop. When I click it, you see those two turnouts automatically switch to the curved position. You have recorded your second event. This turnout here to go to the siding really sits by itself, so we're not going to mess with that. And then the other two turnouts really also should be paired, but we can still select this one manually. And what I'm going to do now is, because that turnout goes to a siding, I'll show you that you can give that a different name. And instead of W3, I'll call it siding 1. The address is set at number 3. This is where I would change the address, for example, address number 31, and click on OK. Now that turnout is called siding number 1 and has the digital address of 31. These turnouts that we just paired up are really not paired up. They're just switching together in a recorded event. But they can still be operated separately, and there's really no use for them to operate separately. See, you can switch W1 and W2 all by themselves. And that really makes no sense, because when one switches, the other one should be switched as well. So instead of using the event, we're going to give them the same address. So I'm going to give W1 the address of 32. I can do that up here. If you do it on the central station, you would do it up here with that little keyboard that pops up. And I'm going to give W2 the same address. So now we don't need that recorded event that we did earlier. We're simply pairing them up with the same address. Almost like a consist in locomotives. So now both turnouts will always switch together. They are now really paired up because they have the same address. If you look on the bottom, the address window is red because it's warning you that the address is already selected or occupied by another item, namely W1. And then it asks you, do you want to keep this address? Yes, we do, because we're doing this on purpose. So now W1 and W2 are truly paired up. I'm zooming in a little bit. So if you click on either W1 or W2, you can see that both of them will switch. And that would make sense. They're truly paired up now. So we can do the same for W7 and W5. I'll click on W7, go to Edit, edit the article list, and now W7 is the one that I want to give an address. Well, it has address 7. For this example, I'll just give it address number 33, which means that turnout number 5 will also need address 33. So click on number 5. And change that address, hit the backspace, 33, hit the check mark. On the bottom you see that the address window is red, or the numbers are red, because it's trying to warn us that address has already been taken. And here we get the warning or the question, hey, W7 has that same address. Do you want to keep it? Yes, we do, because we are pairing up the two turnouts. Click on W5, click, you see W7 clicks with it. Perfect, just what we needed. We're going to do the same for W4 and W6 because we want them to be paired up as well. So all that's left now is to go ahead and pair up W4 and W6, those two turnouts, by giving them the same address, which I will do here at the end of the video. So I showed you how to build a simple track diagram in your Central Station 3, how to add your solenoid articles, your turnouts. Then I showed you how you can do or record a simple event to pair these turnouts up. But then I also showed you how to give the turnouts a manual address instead of using MFX, so that you can pair up turnouts by giving them the same address. Hope you enjoyed the video and learned something, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.